Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well today. Now, I came across this video and something I'd like to go take a look at with you and discuss as I go. And it's called New York Republicans Hold Reoccupy Wall Street Protest. Now, of course, this is going to be about Wall Street and the money they control us with, the money they force us to work for and use as a tool for us to buy back the land and resources that they have stolen from us. And we buy right into it. So much so that we accept the jobs that they created to enslave us with in these buildings you see behind them. I mean, there's millions of people that live on the land in this area right here that are, forced to take a job in one of these buildings to survive for a living, to make the money, the tool to buy your land and resources back because somebody stole it from you. Well, specifically the American government, the name that you accepted for yourself as an American, stole from you, stole from all of us. So we have no choice but to sit behind these windows in the buildings they created for us, and the corporations that enslave us every day repetitiously until we either quit because we're tired of it, or we get fired, or we die working there, or retire. Either way, we still are forced to work for the money so we can buy back the land and resources that are no longer free for us to use and live on, or live by, live from. And someday we're going to have to wake up and stop living by this sort of system. It's not sort of system. It is this blatant system of control and enslavement, because that's all it is. And it all has to do with the numbers they created, doesn't it? I mean, they used the numbers, they created the numbers, they teach us the numbers in the indoctrination centers they sent us to when we were children, brainwashing our minds early to accept the ways that they control and enslave us, so we can accept it easily as an adult and become a good worker, a good believer in the system they created to enslave us in. And most of us want to be a good believer and a good worker and a good this and a good that, but these things that we consider our normal everyday routine is something much worse than that, and we really need to wake up to it. It is our enslavement, and we keep passing our enslavement off to our children and our grandchildren, and so on and so on and so on, because we continue to believe in it. Not only continue to believe in it, but continue to push it, continue to promote it, continue to feed it, because we're programmed to. We're not doing these things on purpose We're not doing these things to purposely hurt our loved ones that ultimately get hurt by it because it was intended that way, designed that way, created to be that way. We just haven't woken up to it yet. But that will soon end, because the natural truth is coming to expose the unnatural things that enslave humanity. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. There's no way anyone can stop it. It's inevitable. And it's upon us now. It's up to you to believe in the natural truth and the truth of how things really are. It's up to you to believe in the truth that can set your mind, body, and emotions free from how they're being controlled. And we're going to get into this video before we go too deep into things. But we'll continue talking as the video goes on, so let's get started.
Take photos. I thought there was like a love note on here for a second, so I just wanted to be careful. And no, thank you, Curtis, for speaking truth to power. They told us they had no money. They gave us a measly $600 check. How many people lost their jobs? How many people lost their businesses? How many people were driven into destitution? Not because they were lazy, not because they were stupid, but because with the economy, what they did to the economy, they shut it down.
They shut it down. And they can do that anytime they want. They shut the economy down on anyone they want, anytime they want. Look what Joe Biden just did with his executive orders. Just with the stroke of a pen, he took away real people's ways of working for a living, being enslaved to work for a living. Okay? Because let's not get it twisted. We are being enslaved to work for a living, to work for the land and resources they have stolen from us a long time ago. And they distract us in many ways to keep us from thinking about that, to keep us from remembering that, to keep us from demanding what was naturally ours back. And they're good at it, right? They created this system that enslaves and controls us. And they created it in such a way that we believe in it wholeheartedly. We believe and feed the system that enslaves all of us. And that's the fucked up part.
Meanwhile, these hedge funds were stupid. These hedge funds were lazy, and they lost their money legitimately. And now what do they want? They want us to bail them out? They want Janet Yellen to make phone calls for them? Yeah. They want to shut down trading? Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? If you did anything like that in your...
No. He's talking about the corporations that enslave us wanting to get bailed out, you know, because of a bad economy and whatnot. No, I mean, that's ridiculous in itself, right? These corporations, they enslave us for a lifetime. And they force us to work for the money so we can buy our natural land and resources back and are able to live the life they tell us we can live in the system they created for us to believe in, right? That's not right. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But still, they want us to be controlled in this way. I mean, this ridiculous way they want us to live. And if I didn't know truth, I would believe in the money they created, just like I used to. I would believe in the money. I'd be consumed by it. It would be something that I would live for. I used to live for it every day because they told me I needed it to live by, live with every day. And I wasn't aware that I was a natural person. I wasn't aware of my naturally created rights to the land that was created for me. I wasn't aware of any of that. I was programmed to believe in this system that they forced me to learn and live by. And forced all of us to learn and live by. You know. Sure, we all have different cultures that we were programmed to live by. We all have different ways that we were programmed to live and be like. But that's all programming. You can guarantee it. I mean, it's all a form of control, separate control of different things they get you to do every day in their unnatural cities. But let's continue.
Day job, you'd be firing it on the street. But these schmucks in Wall Street and Greenwich or wherever they are, they can do whatever the hell they want to do with no repercussions. No repercussions. Where's our $2,000 check? Where's our money? They give us $600. These guys, they take billions from us. Billions. We bailed them out in 2010. They're screwing us again today. They want their own little club where they can make money, where they make the trades. They'll take your cash. Don't get me wrong. You could go on Robinhood. You could buy your blue chips. You could buy your Apple. You could buy your Tesla. But don't you dare think you're going to play fair with them. Don't you dare think you're going to beat them at their own game with the short squeeze.
See, now he's talking about the stock market. You know, the stock market is comprised of all of these corporations that enslave us to work for a living, right? They create the products, they program us to buy, or the products or goods or services or whatever it is, and then they program us to consume or buy it and consume it. You know, it's just another way to get us to keep spending the money that they force us to work for, you know, in a repetitious manner, so we can keep supply and demand. It's a never-ending cycle that keeps you on a spinning wheel that you can never get off of, you know. Enslavement.
Short squeeze has done more to put a finger up to the establishment than anyone ever has before. So God bless the short squeezers. God bless Wall Street bets, because they took a sledgehammer to the establishment this past week. The largest transfer of wealth is correct. This is massive, and they want to bury this story. They don't want to know that they don't want you to know that there's hypocrisy, that there's two standards, and that they're making money while you're losing money. They want it closed. They want it the old boys club. If you're in the club, great. You can make the money. You can wine and dine like sleep.
See all the labels that they call each other when they get each other to be consumed in this system of control and enslavement. All the labels that you are this, you're that, you're this, you're that. You see, you can't just be a natural person. You know, you can't just be a natural person living off the land that was naturally created for you and able to enjoy the food that grows on it anytime you like. No, you can't just do that. You have to be all these things and all of these intricate systems of control, you know. More division for you. I mean, this young man and these two men behind him, they're young Republicans, so they divide themselves by age, consumed by the Masonic numbers that are in their heads, programmed to be in their heads. So they divide themselves by age. They're young. That means something special to them. It means that they're better or somehow than the middle-aged or old whatever we're programmed to think we are with the Masonic numbers they give us to believe in. But that's one way they divide us, and another way they divide and control our minds is he thinks he's a Republican. So he's already divided in several ways in hatred with that label that they get people to believe they are. And whatever comes with that label, just like the stock market and the entire system of enslavement, will consume us. Because why? Because these are separate systems of control in the same nation that stole your natural land and resources away from you, called America. Okay? And since they've gotten you to believe that you are an American citizen, they can control you with everything else in it. Let's continue.
Was said. Steve Cohen, that coward. He couldn't even stay on Twitter. Portnoy made him run. What a coward. What a coward with all his money. He can't even take the heat on Twitter. And this guy's robbing us blind. Robbing us blind. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on. So thank you all for coming out and showing your support. We're probably going to do a presser on this side too. So if they want to shift here. Yeah. But, let's keep up the pressure. Hold the line. Do not sell. Absolutely. Do not sell. Absolutely. Who are you, sir? I'm Gavin Wax, president of New York Young Republican Clubs. We organized this today. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, Gavin.
So, he's the president of the Young Republicans Club, and I think the other guy is the vice president. So they have titles. They believe in the titles they were programmed to think of themselves as. And see, these are the labels that they get people to believe in. So what comes with these labels of these titles? Authority over other people that they control. It's another system of control they get you to believe in, but it's an individual system of control because you're controlling the people that also believe in that system, that give you the authority over them because of that title that you hold as president or vice president. It's the same with the government. It's the same. It's a system of control over us and over anyone that believes in the system.
Okay. Yeah! All right. We're going to do a presser now this way, so the crowd, whoever wants, just stay in the back there. We're going to be talking this way, so just cheer whenever you hear something good. Let's make sure that the world knows that we're here to stay. Oh, yeah, we're going to...
And I also wanted to talk about, they mentioned the stimulus checks, the $600 stimulus checks and $1,400 or $2,000 stimulus checks. These are all ways that they get us to be under their control. You know, they'll lock down the country. They'll take away the jobs they forced you to work for to survive by, and then they'll play games with the money they control you with. You know, the governments, the people making the legislation, so-called passing the bills that create these stimulus checks that they get you to depend on because they're controlling the ways and in real time in your real life, controlling the ways that you're able to make money, and they already force you to survive by this money. So that now they're really putting the clamp down on us and controlling the ways that we can make it, and when we can make it, and how we can make it, and what we need to do to make it, you know. Make you do anything. You won't be able to, and you won't be able to make money unless you have the vaccination. Or show you had the vaccination. Or, continue wearing the mask like they force you to do just to survive for a living. When are we going to wake up and just refuse to keep feeding this ugly system of enslavement on humanity? And that's what it is. It is so ugly to see the truth out here and how we're consumed to live in it, live by it, live from it. So many people want to blame this on the religion they were programmed to believe in, the devil they were programmed to believe in, the evil they were programmed to believe in. But these are all man-made systems of control. We just need to start peeling it open and looking at it from the inside, seeing the intricate details of how they control us and what they control us with. Really open our minds and look at the truth. These aren't conspiracy theories that I talk about. These are not conspiracies. These are real life situations that control us. Just like I told you, Joe Biden signed these executive orders. Some people say he's a president, he's just a puppet, but with the flick of a pen of the scripted executive orders that were in front of him, he's taken away real people's jobs. The way they were forced to live and work by these jobs. They depend on the money. They have families to support by no choice of their own. It's the system that forces them to support their families in this way. And with a flick of a pen, this so-called puppet president affects their lives in real time. It's not a script. At least not for the people who lost their jobs. And from what they say, whether it's true or not, it's in the thousands, maybe 100,000. I'm not sure. I know with the Keystone Pipeline, it affected jobs in the land above us, which they label Canada and label the people to be Canadians, but they're just natural to me. And it affected the Indian reserves, where they labeled those people as Indians, but they're just natural people to me. And it affected us, the Americans, which I just consider to be natural people and not the label they consider us to be. And that's where truth comes in and just helps you break down this system of ugly control and enslavement they have over us. You can stay free from it, and you can look at it for the ugliness it is.
Every day.
All right. I don't know if we're doing questions or whatever, but we happy to take any questions. Me and my VP, Vish Burra, Staten Island, Manhattan. Who wants to ask anything? Gavin Wax, Gavin space WAX, Vish Burra, VISHBURRA. President, New York Young Republican Club, Vice President, New York Young Republican Club. But look, we came out here today. This is a bipartisan show of support. We put out appeals to the left, to the right, to the middle, to whoever. This is an issue of transparency. This is an issue of corruption. This is an issue of double standards in society that we're so sick of seeing. And we wanted to come out here. We wanted to play off of the old vestiges of Occupy Wall Street about 10, 12 years ago, whatever the hell it was. And honestly, it's kind of a shame because what's happened the past week is almost just as bad as what happened 10 years ago. But no one's talking about it. I can't wait for them to make make the movies about what happened. I can't wait for them to make all the shows about what happened. Because what happened was a bunch of anonymous nobodies, Joe Schmoes, the people that you walk by every day, the people that you'll never recognize on the street, they gathered together.
See, they consider themselves, or the people who did this, to be anonymous nobody, Joe Schmoes. You see how many labels they have for the natural people to take away their strength of who they naturally are? These labels, they just throw them out there too. They believe in them. They believe in them to the extent to where they can just use them at any given time against anyone. That's fucked up. That's how they programmed all of us to think, right? That's how they programmed all of us to manipulate others. You know? With these labels that they get us to believe in. These labels to get us to think we are. And here we go. We got this guy standing up next to him, unfolding the American flag that they're programmed to be, believe in. They pledged their allegiance to this flag all of their lives, probably in school. That indoctrinated them to do so they can believe that in this system that controls them. But they don't know this. They don't know that the monetary system of Wall Street that they're trying to get some kind of fairness from is a system of control. Or do they? They could know and just be trying to push it on you as another system of belief, trying to get you to believe that somehow, some way, this Wall Street system of corporations that enslave the majority of the population is somehow good to invest in, or not invest in, or believe in, or not believe in, so you can believe in later. It's all control over your mind. Either way, he's getting you to be consumed by these systems. Okay? Getting you to be consumed by these systems so you can believe in these systems, maybe even participate in these systems, thinking you're going to get something from it. And you may. You may. But the majority of people don't. They'll lose because they're trying to get something from the system that is ultimately enslaving them.
They used their collective force and action to bring down hedge funds. They brought down multiple hedge funds. We have Leon Cooperman crying his crocodile tears on CNBC. Give me a break. These guys short companies into the ground. Into the ground. Businesses like AMC. You want to talk about AMC? It's a movie theater. Everyone loves going to the movies. Why is the price down? Because no one could go to the movies, and these guys are trying to finish them off? I mean, come on. Come on. It's a joke what these guys are doing. And everyone wants to talk about, the short squeeze, the short squeeze. The short squeeze was a legitimate response to over-shorting an asset. They over-shorted it, 50% overfloat? These guys made how much money? And they didn't think anyone was going to call their bet, call off their bluff? When it hit $40, what were they doing? When it hit $50, $60, $70, they waited to $400 to start shitting their pants? Give me a break.
Look at him. Consumed by the numbers. The Masonic numbers. I mean, we have no choice but to be consumed by these numbers. They programmed us to believe in them. They programmed, instead of just a simple tool. Numbers could have been just a simple tool, okay, for us to use, to create with, to measure with, to help us. But what do we do with these numbers instead? We enslave ourselves in time, in the time they created to enslave ourselves in. You know what I mean? Or do you know what I mean? I mean, we're programmed to schedule our lives by the clock they created. Everyone goes by the clock they created because the corporations go by the clock that they created, the time they created. And when you go and you're forced to work a job to buy your land and resources back with the money they created to enslave us, you have to clock into the time they created for you to be enslaved in repeatedly every day. Always the same, right? Programmed to go to work at 9. You get off at 5. So you're working and being enslaved in a corporation that controls you. Probably the corporation that's trading money on Wall Street, right? Right? Probably. More than likely. Because the majority of them do it. All to squeeze out the small guy. All to give you belief in the system that enslaves you, thinking that you can have a small piece of the corporation that enslaves you, thinking you can make some money off the corporation that enslaves you, extra money besides the money that you're enslaved in time to get paid every week. But see, these guys aren't talking about truth that sets us free. These guys aren't talking about truth that sets our mind free. These guys aren't talking about truth that sets our bodies free. These guys are consumed into the system that enslaves thee. Me and you. Everyone.
Calling Janet Yellen because she's bankrolling in her speaking fees. Who's paying $1 million to hear what Janet Yellen has to say? I got you guys out here in the cold and I barely know what I'm saying. No one's paying me. I mean, it's a joke. It's a total joke. And then they're making all their phone calls. They're moving all these things around to do what?
Janet Yellen is playing the system that enslaves many. If she can charge the money and get the people to cycle the money that they're enslaved to spend, and just keep spending so they're forced to make more, that's her position. That's what she's meant to do. Okay? That's her belief in the money that she's enslaved by as well. You know? That's how we're programmed to be. Get money, spend money. Get money, spend money. Get money, spend money.
To bail themselves out because they finally got beat at their own game. And now they want to change the rules again. That's what they're talking about. They're on CNBC. They're talking about changing the rules. They want to make it so nobody can make money. They want to make it so all of you guys have to keep working your BS 9-to-5s and you can't become autonomous. You can't make money on your own. You can't make money through trading or whatever it is. They want to perpetuate their institutional wealth within their own little closed game, and everyone else can just, they get nothing. They get nothing. So they're going to change the rules to make sure this never happens again because they're upset that the plebs stood up, that the rabble stood up, and they made a big scene. They make a big dent. So that's why we're here today, to keep the pressure on, to keep the press on. We got
the plebs stood up, whoever stood up, I don't know how many more labels do they have to divide themselves with. You see what I'm saying? Your continued belief creates more and more and more labels to put on yourself that's not even true. You can never be any of these things that they get us to believe we are, right? It's crazy bullshit, right? I mean, we're looking at it truthfully, and we hear grown people be consumed in this way, and we're like, how? How are these people that are adults, they're grown, they're supposed to be intelligent? How are they continuously allowing themselves to be controlled in this way? How do we continue to allow ourselves to be controlled in this way? I don't understand how humanity is not standing up to this stuff and really shouting out to the rooftops, to every other brother and sister out there, to every other natural person out there, say, hey, please wake up. I don't want you to be controlled in this way anymore. We need to stop, you know. It's terrible to see what's happening to us, for real.
To keep holding the line. We got to keep letting our voices be heard because there's a realignment happening in this country between right and left, center, whoever. Everyone sees the corruption. It's been exposed. It's been on full display. Everyone's mad.
See, there's the system, right and left and center, and that's what he's talking about. This is what they created us to be. This is the paradigm they put our minds in, you know. This is the labels they programmed us to believe in, and we accept it, and we are. You know, break free from that. You're not that. You're a natural person, controlled by no labels, because you're naturally created to exist on the land that they've stolen from you, and they get you to buy back with the money they created to control you with. It's not hard to see the true system that enslaves us, but we just have to open our eyes, connect with the truth that's really happening to us, because we can't debunk or deny the truth. We have to try to live for the truth and not be controlled by the things they created to control us with. And no matter how deep the control goes, no matter how much it destroys your belief in the life you thought you could believe in, you have to keep going for truth. Rip away those things that control you. Rip away the lies that enslave you. Put your belief in the truth that exposed it. And believe in who you naturally are. And reject this system. Stop feeding it. The system of money. It's terrible how they control and enslave us with this system of money. But they do it every day. This is the core. The Wall Street is the core. It's the machine. You know? It's what they try to get you to believe in. Don't play their games. Don't even be enslaved in the system they created. We have to try to do without money as much as possible, because money is their system. This is the main tool of how they control us. Get rid of your desire to be programmed to buy material items. That's how you can stop feeding the system. You know, get rid of your desire to donate to churches, no matter what the cause that they say they need the money for. No matter what. Stop donating your money to churches. All you're doing is cycling the money. What do I mean by cycling the money? Well, you're giving the money away that you're forced to work for, that you're forced to survive by. And that means you have to make more, and that means you're going to have to work more the hours that they enslave you in. Stop doing this to yourself. Stop doing this to your family. Stop feeding the system that enslaves us, and not only us, but our future. this system of control, not only politics, but the economic system, has to end. It has to end. It can no longer control us in such a way. The labels they use to control us with, right? They create the homeless with this monetary system they enslave us in. Without money, there wouldn't be any homeless, right? Because we'd all band together and help each other survive on the natural land that was created for us. And I'm not saying everyone would do it. Of course, there would be people who perish because they're not very knowledgeable in the land that we were naturally meant to live on. But that's going to happen, I mean, at first. But we have to get back, take ourselves out of these cities that enslave us, these unnatural cities that enslave us to work for a living, to work for the land that they stole from us. We have to get rid of these cities, or at least get rid of the systems that control us in these cities. These intricate systems of control have to be gutted out from our lives so we can take back the land and resources that were naturally ours.
We may disagree on some things here and there. We may disagree on some policy, but this is blatant corruption. This is theft. This is fraud. This is collusion. Everyone can get behind that. Those are basic crimes that we can all detest. So that's why we're here today. So I wanted to thank everyone again for...
Theft, crime, all part of the system they get us to believe in, right? They created it. They created the crime. They created the thief, the label that they can brand us with, because they created the crime, right? They created the laws that restrict us from the land and resources that were naturally created for us. They created all the laws that label us as one thing or another, depending on what your supposed crime was that was created to control you with, or to cycle the money that you're enslaved to live by with. Because you're either going to get a fine or imprisonment for the crime they created to get you to violate. I mean, they create the crime, they program you to violate it. Now they have a court system to control you all the way through and get even more out of you. They're either going to force you to be imprisoned in their system, which ultimately they get paid the money for enslaving you in that system, or they're going to somehow get you to pay the money they control you with. It's crazy. It's a crazy system of control.
Coming out, happy to take any questions.
Where's Anthony Denny at? Where's all these CEOs? Because that's who I'm looking for. If you need to see what I look like on TV, whatever. I'm gonna be on Wall Street every day with my friends. I'm paying them $100 to slap a CEO. That's how I feel.
Well, speaking of CEOs, I forgot the biggest thing. I forgot Robinhood.
Yeah.
Robinhood. Democratize the markets. Give me a break. That was bullshit, democratize the markets. They got everyone on their app. They got everyone on their stupid app thing, and that's why I have the hat. I completely forgot this thing. I was wearing it. But anyway, why'd they get people on their app? They gave you out free stocks. They said, oh, you guys can play with the big boys. You guys can make real...
See, Robinhood was an app you could use to trade on the stock market. But let's take a look at the programming of Robinhood. I mean, what do we think of when we think of Robinhood? When we think of the fairy tale story we were programmed to believe in, well, you know, some people say it's real, some people say it's a fairy tale. Whether it's real or a fairy tale doesn't really matter. But what matters is that they programmed our minds to believe in this story. They programmed our minds to believe in the things that were in this story. Like, for instance, they used the character of Robin Hood. You know, they labeled Robin Hood as what? A thief. He gave to the poor what he stole from the rich, right? And I remember Robin Hood. I don't know who brought it out. It was either Hollywood or Disney, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who brings it out. It's what they program our minds with, right? But what it does is it makes us believe in these labels they created. Because we believed in Robin Hood, didn't we? Why? Because we thought it was the right thing to do. We thought it was awesome that this guy went around and he stole from the rich to give to the poor, because, you know, the rich didn't want to give what they had, and, you know, and they wanted to just hoard it all for themselves, and that's how they portrayed it anyway. But we know that's not true in real life. The rich, they do their share of donating. But it's not even the point, right? It's the point of being controlled by the money they created to force us to live by. Right? They don't want us to think about that. They want us to be programmed in this Robin Hood way of thinking, you know? Oh, the rich are bad. They have too much. We need to steal from the rich and give to the poor. That's the right thing to do. That's the fair thing to do. And they got us to believe in that. They got us to label ourselves as these things in the monetary system they created to control our minds in, right? And be consumed by, right? Because if we label ourselves as rich because of the money they force us to work for, or if we label ourselves as the poor, you know, because of the money they force us to work, you're being controlled in the system they created. You're believing in the labels they get you to believe in. And then you feel some way about it, you know? You feel great if you're rich, right? You have plenty of money. You have nothing to worry about. You feel great. You're on top of the world, you know? You feel so confident and all of this stuff. And it's all unnatural. It's all unnatural. You'll never have enough money. You'll always try to fill that empty hole that they created, you know, getting you to believe in the money and in this system that controls you. You're never going to be able to fill that empty spot, and you're going to spend a lot of money trying. I've been there. I've done that. I've had a lot of money, and I've been poor, you know, when I believed in the system that enslaved me. But I know now, after knowing truth, that I can never be any of those labels they created for me to be. I'm naturally created. That's all I can ever be. My desire to have the money that they created to control and enslave me with is no longer in me. Sure, sometimes I need some of the things to survive by, and I need a little money to get by and buy some things and survive. Or maybe buy a tool to do some things that need to be done. But that's the way they programmed us to live in this system, right? That's the way they force us to be in this system. They didn't give us any choice. You know? Sure, I mean, let's continue.
Money, join Robinhood. Give us your money. Come buy stocks. Come do your thing. You know, it's a democracy. It's a democratic process. Nonsense. The second people started making real money, and let's talk, they made millions. These people made millions. They went out and they bought homes. They paid their student loans. They helped pay their medical bills. They gave to charities. They did good things with their money. I think Curtis said it best. They were great.
Now, look at that. Another way they program you to think in this monetary system that enslaves you. They want to label you as good stewards of your money. You did great things with it, right? I mean, they label you constantly with this monetary system that controls us. We need to deny the money they enslave us to live by. We need to stop cycling as much as we can the money they created to enslave us and get us to live by. Stop feeding this system that routinely enslaves us every day. I know. You're going to say to yourself, well, I'm just one person. What kind of impact could I have on the system? I'm just one person. Well, if you start to do it, and then you can influence and tell people the truth, and they start to do it, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. You're planting a seed to free yourself, a seed to free your children, a seed to free other people that are naturally created, which is everyone. Okay? We just need to start planting the seeds, do what we can, instead of doing nothing, instead of ignoring the problem, instead of saying, well, that's not me, I'm not going to worry about it. It's all of us. It's all of us. This is happening in real time, in the real world, to all of us.
Stewards of their money. They didn't go, buying yachts and going off to, San Tropez or wherever the hell these hedge fund guys are. They did good things with the money they earned. And then what did Robin Hood do? Vlad, whatever the hell his name is, They shut it down. They shut down the trading, but they didn't just shut it down. Shutting down would have froze it. What did they do? They said you can't buy, you can only sell. Well, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to crater. Absolutely. It's going to crater. And then what was Citadel doing during this whole time? They were closing their positions. They were bailing themselves out. This was rigged.
Now, do you see this naturally created man consumed by the monetary system that enslaves his mind? Do you see how much mind power is being wasted on what enslaves him, instead of him waking up to the world that enslaves him, trying to wake up other people to the world that enslaves them? He's consumed by it, and he thinks he's doing a good thing by coming out and speaking against the people so-called taking advantage of other people in Wall Street. But what he should be doing is waking up the people to the fact that they're being enslaved by this money that they created.
It was collusive. It was a giant scheme, and I hope they do full investigations because you have guys going to jail for memes. They're putting people in jail for making memes, but these guys steal billions from us. They steal billions from the people, and then they have the audacity, they have the chutzpah.
See, this is how they control people. He's saying people are going to jail for creating memes. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know this brother. You know, it takes a lot for me to believe in what people say. I have to believe in them. You know, and if they just come out and say something that I can't really see or connect with, you know, and they just come out and just say something without any proof, without pointing out something to me, to say, hey, look, this is why this is the truth. This is why, you know, this is the way it is. I have a hard time believing them because this brother is so consumed in the world that enslaves his mind, and the system that enslaves his mind, and the money that controls his life. And it was programmed to, and I'm not dogging him for it. I'm not dogging anybody that is consumed by the money, because I used to be too. I used to be too before I discovered truth. I used to be consumed by the material items that they created for me to spend money on. I wanted. The latest thing out, no, I wanted it. I wanted it, you know? I had to have it. If it's the best thing that I can possibly use and it would help me, I wanted it, you know? That's how they get you. That's how they program you, to keep spending the money that they created for you to keep spending. So they keep controlling you in the job they created to enslave you in, you see, and the time they created to control you in, repetitiously, every day. They don't use these things as a system that's good for humanity, as a system that's truthful for humanity, as a system that would help humanity. But they use it as a thing that would restrict humanity, consume humanity, control humanity, enslave humanity. As people, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. We can't keep exposing the human beings born after us to a world such as what we had to live through. A world such as we had to be controlled and enslaved in. We have to try to make it better for the people coming after us. Because in reality, we don't know if we're going to be the people coming after us, you know? I know some people don't believe in regeneration of your spirit or your energy, whatever they call it, whatever you want to call it. It's your energy that brings your natural body to life, okay? The energy disconnects from this natural body when it passes. That natural energy goes to another body and gets reborn. You're reborn back into this world. You're reborn back into this world. If this works like the regeneration of nature that we see with the plants and the trees and the animals, you know, everything dies and is reborn. Everything dies and reborn. Everything dies and regenerates. You know? Everything dies, gets consumed. And then is regenerated and the process repeats. If we use that same physical truth and relate it to our existence, then it would be a possible thing for us to come back in another vessel and experience life again on this earth. So you just may be a person coming back to this existence. So wouldn't you want to do the best you can to let people know of the things that are unnaturally enslaving them, so we can change it, so we cannot be controlled, so we cannot be manipulated and enslaved any longer, so our children, our grandchildren, or even our future selves can be born into a world that thinks more about natural truth and creating in that truth and advancing in that truth and thriving in that truth, rather than a world that controls, manipulates, enslaves, and consumes us into the things that are unnatural. I'd rather go for the truth, my friends, my brothers and sisters, whatever they label us to call each other. I call us the natural ones, because that's where our strength is. The natural creation that we are and we come from, we can never let go. It is our power, it is our strength, it is our truth. Embrace it. I love you guys. Take care.
To come back to us and ask for money to bail themselves out? Give me a break. They all need to be investigated. They need to look into the books. They need to look into the phone records, the text messages, because there was a lot of things going on there and it wasn't kosher. I can tell you that much. But yeah, so screw Robin Hood. They stole from the people and they gave to the rich, as the great Dave Portnoy has said. It would be hilarious if it wasn't so crooked.
Stole from the people and gave to the rich. More labeling. Well, guys, take care.